Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to answer a question that came in one of my emails, and it was actually, I think, kind of divine timing, the way it came in. And the question was, what's the difference between a ghost and a spirit? If you listen to the Law of One in Book 3, Part 11, Ra actually talks about the fundamentals that back up this question and answer it in a very raw type of way. It's when he talks, it is kind of confusing. He's very analytical when he speaks, and every word is purposeful when he's being channeled. Okay, let's talk about what a ghost is to start us off. When we are incarnated into our bodies and activated, when we die and our consciousness, our vibration, our frequency leaves our body to merge back with our higher self and into source energy, that transition is not an easy one. It's not like the way it is in some movies where, you just snap your fingers and bang, you're back with your higher self and all your other soulmates and spirit guides and everything that has ever happened to you up to that point. It's actually not like that. The transition is difficult. It is a process, and you do need guidance to make that journey. And that's why a lot of people that do die, they recall seeing entities in their room when they're about to die. Everyone just thinks that they're kind of going crazy at the end of life, they're losing it. But a lot of those times, it is an energy, a consciousness, thought form of someone aiding you when you make that transition. So when they see, grandpa or, their dead husband, sometimes it's not even the dead husband, the consciousness of that person that you are perceiving, but instead, it is a higher vibrational entity that is made to look like that person that you remember, to make it easier so you'll go with them and that you'll help in the transition. And a lot of people that die and say come back, they'll be able to tell you stories that they did a life review and they saw all the people that had died before them. So there's a lot that goes on after death, and to go to your higher self and completely reemerge with your source energy. Some people talk about the 12th dimensional beings. They'll look like a blue, bright light entity that you're drawn to no matter what you can do. It's the feeling of absolute love, because when you love something, you want to go to it and you don't want to be apart from it. So it's very difficult when you get to that point to stop and say, no, I want to go back. So this process it's complex. People talk about the way station that you go to, all kinds of things. And there's a lot of videos on the internet. I can do some more videos about the certain things that happen after you die. But when your essence leaves your body, because that transition is not a smooth one, you can leave thought forms behind, energy behind. Now, that doesn't mean that, when you see a ghost, or if there is a ghost or a tupa, what you're seeing is not the full entity that used to incarnate a body. You're seeing a remnant's thought form. So think about when someone dies, if they leave parts of their vibrational plasm behind, kind of like when a car speeds away and you can see the tire tracks on the road, that's like a ghost. The tire tracks that are left behind are like a ghost. But the car is not there, but there is evidence of it. Or if you were to unplug from the wall and it sparked out electricity, well, the radio that you just unplugged or whatever, it's gone. It's not part of that connection anymore. But there's remnants. So, and sometimes when someone dies, depends on how they die and what the circumstances were, can really determine about how strong that thought form is that is left behind. And say if someone really was not ready to go, they didn't want to die, they were murdered, say, or in an accident, or they were very, very strong about wanting to stay, that could be an even stronger thought form that gets left behind. And a lot of times that thought form, that tiny frequency that is left behind of an exiting tupa, an exiting soul, an exiting consciousness, an exiting frequency, what is left behind is the ghost that you see. Now, that energy that is left behind, it will dissipate. And a lot of times it'll take whatever amount of energy that they had in that thought form. They can try to manifest what body they think that they should have or remember having. They can kind of like stay in a loop of what they remember from that life. And the thing is, as time usually goes by, the energy from that thought form dissipates. That's why you would always start to see like shadowy figures. Maybe when that thought form was stronger and hadn't dissipated, you would have actually seen like the face and the full body and the clothes of that ghost, right? And it will dissipate. It's not like they're lost or whatever. It's just the energy, it's the frequency of that thought form that is left behind. And you can do clearings for it, by leaving out love water and then taking that love water after sitting in your house for a couple of days and pour it into a plant or a tree, and that will help clear up the thought form energies that are created, right? So ghosts are not entities that you see that are lost. It's not really like that for ghosts. They will dissipate. They're not lost souls. They're just reminiscent thought forms that are left behind. That's why you don't see ghosts from like 1,000 years ago wandering around for the people that can perceive them, because they do dissipate. So, they only last so long because the energy does get absorbed into consciousness of our surroundings as well. But that's also why sometimes someone who is no longer here can attach themselves to an object. Like their thought form, that energy, that consciousness can go into an object, but that's all that's left behind. A ghost is exiting leftover remnants. If we go the opposite way and we talk about spirits, now a spirit is, say, someone from in source energy that is entering, right? So there is a full tether to source energy that is coming in. They're not a remnants, they're coming in and they're fully attached to a higher self and source energy. So when they come in, they can manifest themselves in whatever really way they choose that will benefit whatever situation it is. So say you see an entity in your room and it is your late husband, and they're talking to you, they have a message for you, they are they're giving you information and you feel a lot of love and comfort from them. That would be more like a spirit coming back from source energy to send you a message. Or it could be any entity. Like messages were always depicted, that's why angels had wings and things like that. They were always coming in to send messages. So that's a spirit coming in. If it was a ghost, it would be some entity, thought form that you wouldn't really be able to communicate with, because they're not tethered to higher consciousness, to higher self, to source consciousness, right? So there wouldn't be a back and forth here. You would be dealing with just a stray thought form, right? But spirits are fully intact and fully manifested from source, entering in our realm, our reality, our 3D reality. So they can send a message, communicate with you. And the thing is, we have spirit guides around us at all times. We just don't perceive them. A lot of them are in 6th density, and we usually have about 3 or more. I would say 3 as a minimum of spirit guides that we have around us at all times. You'll always have one that is your lifetime spirit guide. This is a spirit guide that you have a soul contract with, that is continuing their expansion, usually through 3D reality, because it is a very difficult reality to be in. This is the master class that we are in right now in 3D. And you would have a masculine and a feminine spirit guide, and you can have up to more depending on the expansion of that spirit guide. That is a spirit coming in from source energy that is fully immersed into source, and they're kind of like just putting a toe in to our reality to do just an array of things, whether it is to guide you and watch you, send you messages, or it is a lot of times coming in to observe, simply observe and be the messenger for their collective. Like, there's no one thing I can tell you for why a spirit would be entering in our reality, but because there's just so many of them. But that's how you can kind of tell whether you're dealing with a spirit or a ghost. A ghost is exiting, and it's a thought form that gets left behind, and a spirit is entering from source consciousness to manifest for, whatever array of reason. So that was talked about in the last video that I put up of Ra, because it did depict the difference between our chakra system that builds from the root chakra up to our crown chakra and into source energy. And it also would be depicting the Kabbalah that comes in, that kind of plugs us into source from above. So it's a two-way street. Right? And so I hope this helped give you guys a little insight on the difference between a ghost and a spirit. And if you guys have any other questions that you'd like me to answer, just please email me or leave me a comment in the video, and I'll try to answer them for you. So we are going to be heading into actually the last session of book 3 in the next video, and then we're on to book 4. So I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.